President Trump says he's pardoning Congressman Henry Cuellar, the Democrat, and his wife both face federal charges on a bribery and conspiracy indictment. Both have denied wrongdoing.
Let's go straight to the White House and our Elena Tree. Elena, why is Trump moving to pardon a Democrat here?
Yeah, look, we're just learning this now from the president posting about it on Truth Social, and he's arguing that this is just the latest kind of pardons that he's issuing because he's arguing that the Biden administration went too far. In this case, he said that the Biden administration was targeting his political opponents by ousting, in the president's words, the former Texas Democrat Henry Cuellar. Now, I'm going to read for you just some of what the president said. He said, "I am hereby announcing my full and unconditional pardon of beloved Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar and Imelda Cuellar is his wife." He said, "I don't know you, but you can sleep well tonight. Your nightmare is finally over." Now,
okay, so this is absolutely insane. And I mean, this is really, truly insane. We're talking about Trump using his pardon power in ways that are so brazen, so obviously corrupt, that it's almost hard to believe this is actually happening in America right now. We're talking about Trump pardoning his allies. We're talking about Trump pardoning donors. We're talking about Trump pardoning controversial figures who were convicted by his own Justice Department. And he's doing it in secret. He's trying to hide it. He's announcing these pardons on social media or burying them in federal listings where nobody will notice them. He's trying to keep everything hidden from public view. And now, internal White House documents are leaking. The details are coming out, and people are absolutely furious. People are outraged. People are demanding answers. Here's what's happening. Trump has been using his executive clemency power to erase over $1.3 billion in restitution and fines that were owed to victims and to the public. $1.3 billion. That's not a small number. That's a massive amount of money that was supposed to go to people who were victimized by these criminals. That money was supposed to compensate victims for the harm they suffered. That money was supposed to be paid back to the government and the American people. That money was supposed to be a punishment for crimes, and Trump is just erasing it with a signature. He's just making it go away. He's just deciding that these criminals don't have to pay what they owe. He's just saying, forget about the victims, forget about the people who were harmed. I'm pardoning these people and erasing their debts. On December 3, 2025, Trump pardoned a Texas Democrat named Henry Cuellar and his wife Imelda on bribery and money laundering charges. Think about that for a second. Bribery and money laundering charges. These are serious federal crimes. These are crimes that involve corruption. These are crimes that involve taking bribes from foreign governments. And Trump just pardoned them. Just like that. One signature. And suddenly they're free. And here's the kicker. The Cuellar family claimed in their plea that they were being retaliated against for opposing Biden's border policy. They said they were being prosecuted because of their political views. They said the Biden administration was weaponizing the Justice Department against them because they disagreed with Biden on border security. And Trump bought that story. Trump believed them. Or Trump didn't care whether they were innocent or guilty. This video is in paid partnership with Kalshi. Before we get deeper into today's Trump topic, I want to show you something that ties directly into it. My partner Kalshi is the largest legal prediction market in the US, and it lets you trade on real-world events. These are real money markets where you're trading against other people, like a stock market for events. Everything on Kalshi is a simple yes or no contract. If a contract is trading at 45 cents, that means the market thinks there's about a 45% chance of that outcome happening. If it resolves yes, it pays out $1 per contract, so entering at 45 cents more than doubles your money if you're correct. Since today's video is about Trump, I literally checked the Trump-related markets on Kalshi before filming just to see what people are trading on right now. You can build a position, scale in and out, and even earn interest on long-term trades before the market resolves. Kalshi is available in all 50 states, has over 1 million users, and has facilitated billions in trades. If you want to try it, Kalshi is giving you $20 when you trade $100. You can go to my partner link, https://kalshi.com/playersunlimited, and use code playersunlimited when you sign up. Thanks to my partner Kalshi, and now back to the video.
President Trump has pardoned over 1,500 people this year, but I have new reporting tonight on one in particular that has caught our attention. Now, granting clemency to a former top entertainment executive probably wouldn't attract much scrutiny usually, especially given the president has pardoned January 6 rioters, a convicted drug trafficker, his own former chief of staff, the ex-CEO of a cryptocurrency exchange. You get the point. But this one stands out because Trump has pardoned now a former top entertainment executive who was indicted by Trump's own Justice Department less than 5 months ago. Now, this full and unconditional pardon for the Oakview Group co-founder Tim Leiweke was posted online tonight by the Justice Department. It's dated December 2nd. It bears the president's signature, as you can see here. But Leiweke was just indicted 5 months ago by Trump's own antitrust division over accusations that he orchestrated a conspiracy to rig the bidding process for a public university arena in Austin.
Trump just wanted to pardon them because they're a Democrat, and Trump wanted to show his power. Trump wanted to show that he can pardon whoever he wants. And on December 2nd, 2025, Trump pardoned an entertainment executive named Tim Leiweke for rigging a public university arena bid. This guy was convicted of corruption. This guy was convicted of rigging contracts. This guy was involved in a scheme to defraud a public university. This guy took money from a public institution, and Trump pardoned him. Trump gave him a full and unconditional pardon. This was Trump's fifth pardon that week. Trump's fifth pardon in a single week to allies who had been indicted by his own Justice Department. Trump's fifth pardon to people Trump's own prosecutors had convicted. Trump's fifth pardon to people Trump's own judges had sentenced. That's the pattern we're seeing. That's what's happening. That's Trump's system. And the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, she came out and tried to defend this whole thing. She said that Trump is prioritizing people who were abused and over-prosecuted by a weaponized Biden Justice Department. She said that Trump is just correcting the wrongs of the previous administration. She said that Trump is helping people who were unfairly targeted by a politically motivated Justice Department. But here's the thing. These aren't innocent people who were unfairly prosecuted. These are people who were convicted of actual crimes. These are people who were tried in court. These are people who had their day in court. These are people who had lawyers. These are people who had opportunities to defend themselves, and they were convicted, they were found guilty. And now Trump is just erasing those convictions with a signature. Trump is just deciding that the rule of law doesn't apply to his allies. Now let's talk about the bigger picture here, because this isn't just about a few pardons. This is about Trump using the pardon power in a way that's fundamentally corrupt. This is about the systematic abuse of presidential authority. Trump is using the pardon power to reward allies. Trump is using the pardon power to protect donors. Trump is using the pardon power to shield people from billion-dollar fines. Trump is using the pardon power to obstruct justice, and he's doing it in secret. He's trying to hide it. He's announcing these pardons on social media where they might get buried in the news cycle. He's announcing these pardons on Truth Social late at night when people aren't paying attention. He's announcing these pardons in ways that avoid media attention. He's trying to fly under the radar. He's trying to keep people from noticing what he's doing. He's trying to make sure that nobody understands the scope of what's happening. But now the documents are leaking. Now the White House files are getting out to the public. Now people are seeing the pattern. Now people are understanding what's really happening. And it's absolutely shocking. It's absolutely infuriating. Because this is exactly what Trump said he was going to fight against. Trump said he was going to drain the swamp. Trump said he was going to expose corruption. Trump said he was going to make sure that powerful people are held accountable. Trump promised to be different from all the other politicians, and instead Trump is doing the exact opposite. Trump is protecting powerful people. Trump is helping his allies escape justice. Trump is using the power of the presidency to benefit his friends and his donors. Trump is using government power for personal gain. And here's the thing that really gets me about this whole situation. This is legal. Trump has the power to do this. The Constitution gives the president the power to pardon. Trump can pardon whoever he wants for whatever reason he wants. There's no process, there's no oversight, there's no review. Trump just has to sign a piece of paper, and someone who is convicted goes free. Someone who owes money to victims just gets that debt erased, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. Congress can't stop him. The courts can't stop him. The American people can't stop him. Trump has absolute power when it comes to pardons, and he's using that absolute power to help his allies and hurt his enemies. This is why the founders were worried about executive power. This is exactly the kind of abuse of power that the Constitution was designed to prevent. But the Constitution doesn't work if the president doesn't respect it. The Constitution doesn't work if the president is willing to abuse the power he's been given. And Trump is clearly willing to abuse this power. Trump is clearly willing to use the pardon power for corrupt purposes. Trump is clearly willing to help his allies escape justice. Trump is showing us that he has absolute power, and he's not afraid to use it. Alright, so let's get into the details of what's actually happening here. Because this story is about a lot more than just a few pardons. This is about a systematic abuse of presidential power. This is about Trump using the tools of government to benefit himself and his allies. This is about corruption at the highest levels of government. This is about the rule of law breaking down in real time. This is about democracy dying in darkness. This is about the end of accountability in America. Let's start with the numbers. According to a House Judiciary Committee report, Trump's second-term pardons have erased over $1.3 billion in restitution and fines. $1.3 billion. That's money that was owed to victims. That's money that was owed to the American people. That's money that was supposed to be paid back as punishment for crimes. That's money that was supposed to compensate people who were harmed by these criminals. That's money that was supposed to go to people who suffered because of these crimes. And Trump is just erasing it. Trump is just deciding that these criminals don't have to pay. Trump is just just waving his hand and making the money disappear. That's not justice. That's corruption. That's an abuse of power. That's exactly the kind of thing that undermines the entire justice system. Now, let's talk about Henry Cuellar. Cuellar is a Texas Democrat. He's a congressman. He's a member of Congress. He and his wife were convicted on bribery and money laundering charges. These are serious federal crimes. These are crimes that involve taking bribes from foreign entities. These are crimes that involve corruption. These are crimes that involve putting your own interests above the interests of your country. And Cuellar's family claimed that they were being retaliated against for opposing Biden's border policies. They claimed that they were being unfairly prosecuted. They claimed that the Biden Justice Department was weaponizing the law against them because of their political views. They said they were political victims, and Trump believed them, or Trump didn't care whether they were innocent or guilty. Either way, Trump pardoned them. But here's the thing. The courts already looked at the evidence. The courts already determined that Cuellar was guilty. The courts already found that the evidence proved his crimes beyond a reasonable doubt. The courts already convicted him. The courts already determined that he committed bribery and money laundering, and Trump is just overriding that. Trump is just saying, I don't care what the court said. I don't care what the evidence showed. I don't care that you were convicted. I don't care that you admitted your crimes. I'm pardoning you anyway. That's not justice. That's not correcting a wrong. That's just Trump abusing his power to help a political ally. And then there's Tim Lewicki. Lewicki is an entertainment executive. He was convicted of rigging a public university arena bid. This is a fraud scheme. This is a corruption scheme. This is a case where someone defrauded a public institution to make money for themselves. This guy basically stole from a university, and Trump pardoned him. Trump gave him a full and unconditional pardon. That means Lewicki doesn't have to pay the fines he was ordered to pay. That means Lewicki doesn't have to serve his sentence. That means Lewicki is just free. Just like nothing happened, just like he didn't commit any crime, just like he didn't defraud a public university, just like he didn't steal money. And this is the fifth pardon that week. This is the fifth person Trump pardoned in a single week who had been indicted by Trump's own Justice Department. Trump's own prosecutors convicted these people, Trump's own judges sentenced these people, and Trump is just erasing those convictions. Trump is just undoing the work of his own Justice Department. Trump is basically saying to his own prosecutors and judges, your work doesn't matter, your convictions don't matter, your sentences don't matter. I'm going to pardon whoever I want. That's insane. That's a complete breakdown of the rule of law. That's the destruction of the entire justice system. Now, the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tried to defend this. She said that Trump is correcting the wrongs of the Biden administration. She said that the Biden Justice Department was weaponized against political opponents. She said that these people were unfairly prosecuted. But that's not an argument for pardoning them. That's not a reason to erase their convictions. Because even if the Biden Justice Department was politically motivated, even if these prosecutions were unfair, the answer isn't to pardon everyone. The answer is to go through the courts. The answer is to appeal their convictions. The answer is to let the legal system work. The answer is to prove that they were innocent. The answer isn't to use the pardon power to short-circuit the entire justice system. And here's what's really happening. Trump is using the pardon power as a way to reward his allies. Trump is using the pardon power as a way to protect people who are loyal to him. Trump is using the pardon power as a way to build loyalty and obligation. Because if you're someone who Trump pardons, if you're someone who gets a second chance, if you're someone who has your conviction erased, then you owe Trump. You're going to be grateful to Trump. You're going to be loyal to Trump. You're going to support Trump. You're going to do favors for Trump. That's how this works. That's how Trump uses power. That's how Trump builds a network of people who will do whatever he asks. Now let's talk about the secrecy, because Trump is trying to hide these pardons from the public. Trump is announcing them on social media. Trump is announcing them late at night when people are sleeping. Trump is announcing them in ways that get buried in the news cycle. Trump is trying to make sure that people don't notice. Trump is trying to make sure that the public doesn't understand what's happening. Because if people knew that Trump was systematically pardoning his allies and erasing billion-dollar fines, people would be outraged. People would demand action. People would lose faith in the rule of law. People would understand that the system is completely corrupt. And that's what's happening. Internal White House documents are leaking, the details are coming out, and people are starting to see the pattern. People are starting to understand that Trump is using the pardon power in a corrupt way. People are starting to realize that Trump is helping his allies escape justice. People are starting to see that Trump doesn't believe in the rule of law. Trump believes in loyalty. Trump believes in helping his friends. Trump believes in using government power to benefit himself and his allies. This is a fundamental corruption. This is a breakdown of democracy. This is what happens when a president decides that he's above the law. This is what happens when a president decides that the rule of law doesn't apply to him or his allies. This is what happens when a president has absolute power and no one can stop him, and that's the situation we're in right now. Trump has the power to pardon. Congress can't stop him. The courts can't stop him. The American people can't stop him. And Trump is using that power to help his allies and hurt his enemies. Now there's a pattern here that we need to understand. This is exactly what happened in Trump's first term. In Trump's first term, Trump pardoned people who were convicted of crimes. Trump pardoned people who were loyal to him. Trump pardoned people who were part of his inner circle. Trump pardoned people who had testified against him in investigations. Trump used the pardon power to protect his allies and to obstruct justice. And Congress didn't do anything. Congress didn't impeach Trump over it. Congress didn't pass laws to restrict the pardon power. Congress just let it happen. And now, in Trump's second term, Trump is doing the same thing. Trump is pardoning his allies. Trump is protecting his supporters. Trump is using the pardon power to build loyalty and to reward people who are loyal to him. And once again, Congress is doing nothing. Congress is not investigating. Congress is not passing laws to restrict the pardon power. Congress is just letting it happen. Because Congress is controlled by Republicans, and Republicans don't want to challenge Trump. Republicans are complicit in this corruption. Okay, let's break down what this story really means, because this isn't just about pardons. This is about the fundamental nature of power and how it's being abused in America. This is about whether the rule of law still matters. This is about whether the Constitution still means anything. This is about whether we still live in a democracy or whether we've descended into something else entirely. Point 1. Trump is using pardons to reward loyalty and build power. Here's what's happening. Trump is using the pardon power as a tool to build loyalty and consolidate power. Trump is using the pardon power to reward people who are loyal to him. Trump is using the pardon power to protect his allies and create obligation. Because if you're someone who Trump pardons, if you're someone who gets out of prison or avoids paying fines because of Trump, then you're going to be grateful to Trump. You're going to support Trump. You're going to do favors for Trump. You're going to be part of Trump's network. That's the pattern. That's how Trump operates. That's how he builds power. And this is corrupt. This is an abuse of the pardon power. The pardon power is supposed to be used for justice. The pardon power is supposed to be used to correct wrongs. The pardon power is supposed to be used when someone has been unfairly convicted. The pardon power is supposed to be used when there's been a miscarriage of justice. But Trump is using the pardon power to reward allies. Trump is using the pardon power for political purposes. Trump is using the pardon power to build a network of people who owe him favors. Trump is using the pardon power to strengthen his grip on power. That's not what the pardon power is for. That's a perversion of the pardon power. Point 2. Trump is deliberately hiding these pardons from public view. Trump is trying to keep these pardons secret. Trump is announcing them late at night. Trump is announcing them on social media where they get buried. Trump is announcing them in ways that avoid media attention. Trump is burying the announcements in federal listings that nobody reads. Trump is trying to make sure that people don't notice. Trump is trying to make sure that the public doesn't understand what's happening. Why? Because Trump knows that if people knew what he was doing, people would be outraged. People would demand action. People would lose faith in the rule of law. And that tells you something about Trump's understanding of what he's doing. Trump knows that this is wrong. Trump knows that this is corrupt. Trump knows that the American people would be outraged if they knew what he was doing. So Trump is trying to hide it. Trump is trying to keep it secret. Trump is trying to fly under the radar, but now the documents are leaking. Now the truth is coming out. Now people are seeing what's really happening. Trump's secret scheme is being exposed. Point 3. Over $1.3 billion in fines are being erased. These aren't just criminal convictions. These are also financial penalties. These are fines that were ordered by courts. These are restitution payments that were supposed to go to victims, and Trump is erasing them. Over $1.3 billion in fines and restitution is being erased. That money was supposed to compensate victims. That money was supposed to be paid back to the government. That money was supposed to go to people who were harmed by these crimes. That money was supposed to be justice, and Trump is just making it go away. This is particularly troubling because it suggests that Trump is using the pardon power to help wealthy criminals, because these are people who had the resources to get lawyers to petition Trump for pardons. These are people with connections to Trump. These are people with money and influence. These are people who can afford to pay for access. Meanwhile, poor people who were convicted of crimes are sitting in prison with no one to advocate for them. Meanwhile, victims of crimes are not getting compensated because Trump has erased the fines. This is a system of justice that only works for the wealthy and the connected. This is a two-tiered justice system. Point 4. Congress is completely failing to do its job. And here's what really bothers me about this whole situation. Congress could stop this. Congress has the power to stop this. Congress could pass laws restricting the pardon power. Congress could impeach Trump if he uses the pardon power in corrupt ways. Congress could investigate Trump's use of pardons. Congress could hold hearings. Congress could demand accountability. Congress could protect the rule of law. But Congress is not doing anything. Congress is controlled by Republicans. Republicans don't want to challenge Trump. Republicans are willing to go along with whatever Trump does. Republicans are complicit in this corruption. This is a failure of the checks and balances system. This is a failure of Congress to do its job. Congress is supposed to be a check on presidential power. Congress is supposed to hold the president accountable. Congress is supposed to protect the Constitution. But Congress is abdicating that responsibility. Congress is allowing Trump to abuse his power. Congress is allowing Trump to help his allies escape justice. Congress is allowing Trump to use government power for corrupt purposes. And that's a fundamental problem. That's a breakdown of democracy. The bottom line, Trump is systematically using the pardon power to help his allies and hurt his enemies. Trump is erasing over $1.3 billion in fines and restitution that were owed to victims and the public. Trump is hiding these pardons from public view to avoid accountability. Trump is trying to keep people from noticing what he's doing, but now the documents are leaking. Now the truth is coming out, and people are starting to understand that we don't have rule of law in America anymore. We have rule by Trump. We have rule by whoever has access to Trump and can convince him to pardon them. We have a system where the wealthy and the connected can escape justice with a signature from the president. That's not democracy. That's not justice. That's corruption. And unless Congress does something about it, unless the American people demand accountability, this is going to continue. Trump is going to continue pardoning his allies. Trump is going to continue helping his supporters escape justice. Trump is going to continue using government power for corrupt purposes, and there's nothing anyone can do about it.